Good morning, everybody. Stalin Bear here. As you can tell from the fresh haircut, clean shaven, and Miami in the background, that I did have to leave the trail. Most of you, or a lot of you, have known through my comments that we've exchanged on YouTube or Ramdino's through hiker updates that I had to leave the trail. I've given myself a little bit of time to consider, to ponder my thought process on that, and I have to tell you, my experience was amazing. From the moment that I was at the Springer Mountain, I could feel the past hikers there, the thoughts that they were going through. The views were wonderful, and I also took in some of my own emotions while I was there, and I explained a lot of that in my first video on that. My first day was amazing. It was a long weekend, and it was a nice weekend. That first day was nice, so there was a lot of hikers out, and I got to talk to a lot of people on that experience. I was really starting to do a social experiment. Everybody talks about the differences of how people approach each other throughout the trail, and I've mentioned that even in Miami. My first day, everybody greeted me. If it was a group of people, one or two people would greet me, say, "Hey, hello, how you doing? You know, where you headed? Are you a thru hiker?" One guy he was there as a group from Hiker Bud on Facebook. We must have walked together for a half mile or more until he got ahead of his group, and then he decided to hold up for them. But it was really good to see that. I even like the second day, I was going down one of the gaps. It was actually the Blood Mountain day, and going down Blood Mountain, and a young 16, 17-year-old boy was coming up the trail. He purposely took out his earbuds to greet me and talk to me before going up. So that was amazing. The people that I met on the trail had two beautiful days. My first and third day were beautiful days. So I really appreciate all that. I did see a lot of beauty. One of the comments I made on my video is that I see everything within 30 or 40 yards, and a viewer commented, "Without the long distance, we take in the beauty that is closer to us," and I believe that is true. I'm very observant, as it is anyways, but to take that in, to see fresh new buds on trees, to see new sprouts coming up, pay detail attention to the moss on the rocks or the fungus growing on a stump. It was amazing to me. I enjoyed it. I told my mother, or a lot of people, that the two things that would take me off the trail was a serious injury or the needs of a loved one. And thankfully I had no serious injury. In fact, I felt I was getting stronger throughout the day. Going up the inclines, even that last day, I felt that I was stopping more because I wanted to take a picture than to catch my breath. So I was feeling strong. I had normal end of the day aches and pains as I sat or stopped, just as I would on a normal day after biking in Miami or running. If I sat for a while, I would get stiff, but nothing that I would consider pain. Pain associated with the joints or the muscle pain, just stiffness and soreness associated with the strenuous work that I was doing. So I really felt that I was only getting stronger on that. In fact, I feel frustrated when I was only doing the 8 to 10 miles between the shelters the last couple of days. And in fact, the final day, I got an early start. I was out by 8 o'clock or so. I was really trying to determine if I wanted to go all the way to the second shelter at Deep Gap, and that way I would have a short drop into the top of Georgia the next day. And I really thought that was feasible to do at that time. Distance, I had a couple 12, 14-mile days on that, and I felt very comfortable with that. Even with that last day with the inclines that I covered, Unicorn Gap, Tray Mountain, from that point I felt I could have continued on if I'd made that determination early on. But as it was a personal family member in need that took me off the trail, and I don't regret leaving the trail whatsoever. I'm very happy that I had the experience I did. I absolutely made the right decision to come back to Miami because my gratification or my trail experience was not worth the suffering or the added stress or the difficulties that this person was having. So I'm happy with that decision. I'm happy that I went. So I have considered doing a section hike through it, but that is going to take over time because of the logistics of it. I'm 14 hours by car from where I stopped, so logistically everything would have to be is more difficult at that aspect. I'm sorry, or I'm disappointed that I didn't get to go through all of it, because I know a lot of people were supporting me, following me, in particular my daughter's 8th grade class. You know, I wanted to really get them involved. I wanted to talk about the history of the trail or the locations that I was going through to, because she does teach history class. But there is a big lesson to learn in all that too. Even though we have dreams ourselves and that we want to accomplish things, it should never be at the sacrifice of somebody else's well-being. And so take that in consideration. Follow your dreams. Do what you tend to do. Pursue the things that you want to pursue, but never at the expenses of somebody else's health or well-being. So take that on. I will try to do some area hikes here in Florida. There's a Florida trail. I could probably do some more section hikings on that. One thing earlier Riser had talked about is talk about your experience of and how it relates through the physical therapy aspect of how your body would respond and everything. My friend Danny and I even talked about, how could we incorporate videos and talk about the trail or hiking and how to prepare for that. We determined that you couldn't really have a business set up on that, because especially here in Miami there's not a lot to hiking on that, or hikers in general are spread out through a large area. It's hard to build a full clientele on that, but to do some videos explaining how to strengthen your muscles that you would most likely be using throughout a hike, both inclines and declines, and how to strengthen your stabilizing muscles to prevent injury and stuff. It would be a good avenue that we could pursue. All my equipment and everything that I have performed wonderfully. I met some wonderful people on the trail. I wish all of them the very best of luck in continuing, and those through hikers that have yet to begin, I wish you all the very best of luck as well. And I appreciate, again, everybody's support and following me through this journey, be it short. I appreciate that, and I will have to change my channel to Stalling Bear Hiking Adventures instead of Through Hiking Adventures, because I will definitely continue hiking, and I'll have to bring videos in through that avenue to do that. So thank you. I appreciate everything, all the people, all the support. I appreciate the trail angels, and everything else. Speaking of trail angels, I would really be amiss if I did not mention Paul and Bonnie. My second day on the trail, I'm coming down one of the gaps. I think it was Cooper Gap, and I saw a car parked, and this elderly couple get out of the car and go towards the upside of the gap that I was soon to follow. I kind of get behind them, and I didn't want them to feel pressured that I was pushing them or barge my way past them. So I sat down for a second to have a little bit of water and to take in the views. And I was only sitting for a moment, and I look up, and they're way up the hill. So I gathered my stuff and followed up behind them. I met them on top of the ridge, and they, in true Georgia fashion, how are you doing? Where are you going? This and that. And we chatted for just a brief moment. But as I was getting ready to leave, Bonnie says, well, you know, we have a bread and breakfast, and we are willing to pick you up anywhere on the Appalachian Trail that crosses a road. And Paul handed me a business card, and I went along my way. And I'm not really even thinking that I would utilize it, but I would take the card in case somebody needed it as reference on that. And 4 days later, you know, after corresponding back and forth with Miami and kind of getting the idea that it would be best if I left the trail and to settle everything out to see how everything was, I made contact with Bonnie, and the communication was difficult initially, and once I finally got up, because I was at Unicorn Gap that I had these communications with Miami, but it was up on, so I followed up on Unicorn Gap, and I didn't really try to contact Bonnie and Paul until I got to Indian Grave, and communication was just so sketchy. And then when I got to the first crossing of Tray Mountain Road, I did get in contact with them. Bonnie couldn't hear me, so then I tried again. I got the voice message, I left the voice message, and then text. Finally, I get up on top of Tray, and much closer to Tray Gap, and then I had realized Paul had called me. And he said, yes, we're willing to come pick you up. You know, so we established a pickup point at Tray Gap. And so I went, and I thought I was probably 30 minutes away from that. So, but I ended up only being about 5 minutes from Tray Gap. So I get there, and I wait for them. It took them 45 minutes to drive up to pick me up some of the washed out dirt roads for the last portion of it, but they drove 45 minutes to pick me up, took me to their home, opened their home to me, you know, offered every convenience of the world of laundry, you know, allowed me to eat there for dinner that night, and most of all, it was a place where I could take care of my business and talk to my family and decide what was best in this situation. And so for that, I'm forever grateful to have that opportunity. I did make arrangements to leave the next day, but even before that, both of them had said that, you know, we can take you right back to that same spot anytime you want to in the morning. So, and the next morning, I came out, and both of them were cooking breakfast, you know, seeing them work as a team. And then they made pancakes, blueberry pancakes, apple cheddar omelet, lemon muffins, bacon, orange juice, apple juice, coffee, everything that you can expect. They made me feel so welcome. We sat there after breakfast and talked for 3 hours before I had to pack up and go pick up my rental car. And I told Bonnie as I was leaving the doors, like, I've never felt this way leaving a hotel. I felt like I was leaving family. And even as we left the rental car place for our separate ways, I showed my gratitude and appreciation for all they did. True trail angels. And I will photocopy, or I put a copy of their business card at the end of this. Anybody that's on the trail and needs some assistance, a place to stay in Georgia, I would highly recommend these individuals. So I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate my experience I had on the trail. I will continue hiking at different locations and hopefully bring those videos to you and keep some contacts that I've made through this for a long term. I really appreciate it, and thank you. And for now, back 'em up, move 'em out.